Good evening, everyone. My name is Kushbu, and I'm your PMRF TA for the course Introductory Organic Chemistry 1. The course instructor for this course are Professor Nija Dashaputre and Professor Harinath Chakrapani from ISER. So let's start our discussion about alcohols, ethers, and epoxides, and then we will discuss about aromaticity. So, first of all, what are alcohols? Alcohols are aliphatic organic compounds. So basically, alcohols are aliphatic organic compounds that contain hydroxyl group that we already discussed in the previous classes. That in alcohol you have a alkyl chain or aryl chain where oxygen is attached, and that oxygen is attached with hydrogen. So these type of this alcohols can participate in various reactions, and in alcohol oxygen has two lone pairs. When we talk about its structure, so the structure of alcohol is similar to that of the water, where if we replace one of the hydrogen atom with the alkyl part or the aryl part, we will get alcohols or phenols respectively. In this case, alcohol's oxygen is sp3 hybridized. So the oxygen hybridization is sp3, and the tetrahedral angle should be 109.5 degree based on the geometry of P3 hybridized carbon. So if we take the example of water, in that case, the angle between the OH-OH bond is 104.5 degrees Celsius because of the repulsion between the two lone pairs. And if we have the methyl group, so because of the increase in the bond length, the angle is nearly around 109.5 degree. That is the sp3 hybridized tetrahedral angle. Now, coming to the nomenclature of alcohols, so the common name is derived from the alkyl group that is attached with the OH or hydroxyl group, and then at last we will add the word alcohol. So, for example, in this first example, we have a ethyl group that is attached to the OH. So, we will call it as ethyl alcohol. Similarly, in this case, this is N-propyl group that is attached with hydroxyl group, so we will call it as n-propyl alcohol. So for common giving the common name to an alcohol, we will use alkyl group that is attached with the hydroxy group, and first we will write the name of that alkyl group, and then we will write the word alcohol at last. The next example shown is, so this is your isopropyl alcohol. So this group we will call it as isopropyl, and hydroxyl is attached, that's why it is isopropyl alcohol. Then we already discussed about vinylic and allylic groups. So allylic is if any group is attached next to your double bond, then it is allylic, or in this case we will call it as allyl alcohol. And vinylic if it is attached to the same carbon of the double bond, where which is the part of double bond as well. So this is vinylic. So this is about the common names. Now for IUPAC naming, similar rules we will follow. That first we will select the longest carbon chain that is possible, and that contains the carbon atom that is having the hydroxyl group. We should not miss that. Hydroxyl group will not considered as a substituent in this case. Then we will remove e from alkane because we have all suffix, and that is o is a vowel. So whenever we have a suffix that contains a vowel, then the E of the alkane name should be removed. Then we have to start numbering from the carbon that contains that hydroxyl group. So we will give the lowest number to the carbon having the hydroxyl group, and then we will decide the positions of the substituents. Then, after giving name to all the substituents, we will arrange them in the alphabetical order and write all at the last. So, for example, in this case, we have now we can start our numbering from this carbon or this carbon, but substituent should be given less numbering, and OH from whichever side will get less number, we will give priority. So this is numbering is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is 1 bromo because bromo comes first, then methyl in alphabetical order. So 1 bromo, we have 2 methyl groups at 3 carbon. So 3 dimethyl, a total of 4 carbons in the longest chain. So because of that, we have butane 2-ol, where hydroxyl group is attached. That position is 2. So this is butane 2-ol. Is this clear? Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Then the second example shown here is you have an alkene and you have a hydroxyl group. So we can start numbering from either of the end, but we will start numbering from the end where your hydroxyl group was there. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the name of this molecule is, this is transalkene. So we will write trans pant 2 ene and 1 o. And E should be eliminated because vowel is there in the suffix name. Then for if we have more than one hydroxyl group, if we have two or three like two OH groups or hydroxyl groups, we will call it as diols or glycols. For example, in this case we have this 1, 2, and 3. So this is propane 1,2 diol. Similarly, if we want to give numbering here, so this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 carbon chain, and we will name it as 1 cyclohexyl butane 1,3 diol. So instead of all, we will use diol for 2 hydroxyl group in the carbon chain. Then let us discuss about the physical properties of alcohol. So most of the common alcohols up to 11 and 12 carbons are liquid
Madam,
at room
small doubt.
temperature. Yeah,
In this eighth week, what are the topics, madam?
sorry.
In this eighth week, what are the topics we discuss?
In this slide, sorry, in today,
In this week, eighth week,
alcohols, ethers, and epoxides. And
alcohols.
ethers, epoxides. And then we discussed about aromaticity.
Okay, madam.
Yeah. So mostly alcohols up to 11 and 12 carbon atoms are liquid at room temperature, and they have ethyl alcohol and propane have similar molecular weight, but their boiling point differs by 120 degrees Celsius. Now why is this difference in boiling point? This is because in case of your propane, there is dipole moment is less, but in the case of ethyl alcohol, there is a polarity induced in this carbon oxygen and oxygen hydrogen bond that creates the dipole moment in this molecule, and its dipole moment is 1.69. And because of this polarity induced in this bond, it can participate in hydrogen bonding with other ethyl alcohol molecules in the solution. So because of that hydrogen bonding, one extra bond is there, or attraction is there, that we have to overcome while boiling the solvent. So that is why this ethyl alcohol has higher boiling point than that of the propane. Now hydrogen bonding is in major intermolecular attraction that exists in the alcohols. and it is because of the strongly polarized bond of your alcohol, where oxygen is having delta negative charge and hydrogen that is attached to it is having delta positive charge. So this hydrogen will is attracted by the other oxygen that is having negative charge of the other alcohol molecule, and this attraction between the hydrogen of one molecule and the electronegative atom of the other molecule, we will call it as hydrogen bond. And because of this extra intermolecular attraction, the boiling point of alcohols is higher than their corresponding alkanes. Now, alcohols are much better solvents for polar substances, because the water solubility and like if polar molecule is there and the alcohol is in polar in nature, so we know that polar or like dissolves like. So polar molecules will get dissolved in, so like dissolves like. That's why alcohols are better solvent for polar substances than for the non-polar substances. And the water solubility of alcohols decreases as the size of your alkyl part will increase. Why is that so? Because as the size of your alkyl part increases, then the hydrogen bonding, the tendency of molecule to form hydrogen bonding with the other molecule will decrease. So that's why the attraction is less in that case, and the solubility is also less. For example, if you have alcohols with one, if you have alcohols with one, two, or three alkyl groups that are miscible with water, and if we have a tertiary butyl alcohol that is miscible, more miscible because of its spherical structure or spherical shape. So the hydrogen bonding is the property that provides better solubility for the polar substances and that is responsible for the higher boiling point of the alcohols than their corresponding alkane. Now let us discuss about the synthesis of alcohol, how we can prepare alcohols. Some of the reactions we have already discussed, that hydroboration oxidation of alkanes give anti-Markovnikov of alcohol addition, alcohols with syn stereochemistry. So if we have a alkene here, 1-methyl cyclopentane, and we are treating it with borane, so it will form like anti-Markovnikov addition means you will get a less substituted alcohol in this case. So your hydrogen will get attached to the more substituted carbon and boron will attach to the less substituted carbon. So you will get this addition product. Then on oxidation using hydrogen peroxide and sodium hydroxide, we will get a less substituted alcohol. So for getting less substituted alcohol, we will use hydroboration oxidation. Then the other method we already discussed is oxymercuration demercuration, which gives you a more substituted alcohol. So 2-methyl 2-butene first react with mercuric acetate to form, sorry, to form first anti hydroxyl and mercuric acetate addition product, and then on reduction it will give us a more substituted alcohol. Okay. Then for preparation of thiols, we discussed about the reaction of alkenes with osmium tetroxide that gives us syndiols. So osmium tetraoxide through a concerted process will give this cyclopentene 1,2 diol. How this reaction will take place? So firstly, osmium tetraoxide will react with alkene and it forms a five-membered ring. Then water will attack and it leads to the formation of your syndiol. Okay. So for getting less substituted alcohol, we will use hydroboration oxidation. For getting more substituted alcohol, we will use oxymercuration demercuration. And for getting a diol, we will react our alkene with the osmium tetraoxide. Then, what are the reactions that alcohols can show? So alcohols can be oxidized to ketone or aldehyde or acid, but only primary and secondary alcohols can be oxidized. Tertiary alcohols generally do not oxidize. So for oxidation of primary and secondary alcohol, the first reagent that we are going to use, or the most common one, is your chromium oxides or permanganate solution and nitric acid. So if we have a secondary alcohol, for example in this case cyclohexanol, and we are treating it with sodium dichromate in the presence of acid, then it leads to the formation of your cyclohexanol. So the chromic acid reagent is prepared by dissolving your sodium dichromate in the presence of water in the presence of some acid source. So it will give you chromic acid, or directly chromium trioxide when dissolved in water in the presence of acid, it will give chromic acid. That is a proton donor, and acid chromate ion is stable enough to lose this proton. Then how the alcohol was react with this chromic acid? So firstly, the alcohol will attack at the chromium, and then this O negative species will form, which will take the proton from the alcohol, and OH will form first. Then, and this OH negative will leave in this process, which will take the proton and leave, forms the water. Then water abstract the proton at the alpha carbon of the oxygen of the chromic acid, and then it leads to the formation of your ketone and this chromate ester. Now, while performing this reaction in labs, what you will observe is the color change. So, if your chromium 6 species is changing to chromium 3 species, that is stable enough, so the color of the reaction is changed from orange to deep blue. So, this color change will show that whether the oxidation is happening or not. So, if color changes from orange to blue, that means oxidation takes place, and if not, that means we have to stir the reaction for further long to complete that oxidation. Other chromium reagent that we used for oxidation is sodium hypochlorite in the presence of water. So this will give you cyclohexanol. Now how this reaction will takes place? So this sodium hypochlorite with water, it will form HOCl. So this oxygen, sorry, in this case, first protonation will takes place, and then this NOCl will take the proton from the hydroxyl group and it will form HOCl, and then Cl will take the proton from the adjacent carbon to form the ketone. That's how the reaction will takes place. Then the next type of reaction, or the next reagent that we can use for oxidation of the primary alcohol to aldehyde is PCC. So PCC is pyridinium chlorochromate. PDC also like PDC also we will use pyridinium dichromate. for oxidizing secondary alcohol to ketones or primary alcohol to aldehyde. Now, how this reaction is taking place? So, we have a chromium, say this chlorochromate. So, alcohol will react with your this O negative and pyridine positive. So, alcohol will attack on the chromium. This O negative species will form first. So, you have better to take a primary alcohol. So, for that, we can write it as RCH2OH. So you will have this O attached to chromium and this O negative, O negative, double bond O and Cl. And here we have H. So this species will form first. Then after the loss of proton, it will form O, chromium, OH and this O negative. Then electrons will fall and Cl negative will leave from here and it leads to the formation of this species. Then your Cl negative will abstract the proton and it leads to the formation of your aldehyde. So you will get aldehyde. Is this mechanism clear? Okay, let's move further. So now the next reaction that we will use to oxidize our primary alcohol to aldehyde is Swan oxidation, where we are treating our primary alcohol with DMSO and oxalyl chloride at low temperature and in the presence of some hindered base such as triethylamine. It leads to the formation of aldehyde and some byproducts that can be easily removed from the organic reactions or organic product. So this the mechanism of the reaction goes this way, that your uh, dimethyl sulfoxide first react with oxalyl chloride. So the O negative is attacking at the electrophilic carbonyl carbon and the Cl negative will remove. Then that Cl negative will attack at the sulfur of the that is attached to the oxalyl chloride in the first step, and this leads to the formation of our chlorosulfonium ion, that is the intermediate, first intermediate that is taking part in the reaction. Then alcohol will react with this chlorosulfonium ion. So alcohol attacking at the sulfur and this Cl negative will leave. Then your triethylamine base will abstract the proton and it leads to the formation of aldehyde followed by dimethyl sulfide. Now, two things can happen. It can take the proton next to the oxygen or it can take the proton next to the sulfur. So that next to the sulfur proton is more acidic. So it will take this proton rather than the next to the oxygen. So then this intramolecular hydrogen abstraction leads to the formation of aldehyde and dimethyl sulfide. So the byproducts are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide that are gases, and dimethyl sulfide that can be easily separated from the aldehyde that is formed in the reaction. So the first reaction that we discussed about oxidation is using chromium salts, chromic acid, sodium dichromate, sodium hypochlorite, and then PCC, PDC, Swan oxidation. Now, other strong oxidizing agents, instead we used are permanganate solution or nitric acid. For example, if you have the secondary alcohol, you are treating it with KMNO4, then it leads to the formation of a it leads to the formation of ketone. Similarly, hexanol on treatment with HNO3, it will give us acid instead of aldehyde. This is primary alcohol, so its oxidation should give aldehyde, but if we are treating it with nitric acid, then it leads to the formation that aldehyde is further oxidized to give you the acid. Then one rearrangement that is very common for diols is pinacolone rearrangement, where pinacol is heated at 100 degrees Celsius in the presence of acid to get pinacol. Now, how this reaction is taking place? So, here we have a pinacol and we are treating it with acid and it gives us pinacolone. So, the mechanism follows this way that in the presence of acid, your one of the hydroxyl group was protonated first and then it leaves, leading to the formation of this tertiary carbocation that is stable.
Madam,
Hanji?
do you have any flowchart for exclusively which reagent where they converted into particular alcohol to acid?
Sorry, I didn't add it in this. After class, maybe I can add in the slides and then I will upload that. Is
Uh,
this fine?
because we have because we have a different oxidizing agents are there,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like PCC, KMnO4 is there.
Correct, correct.
So few reaging agents specifically converted into primary, secondary, like this.
For the class purpose, I didn't add it. That I will add in the slides and then I will upload.
If you have, then you can upload it.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay. So this pinacolone rearrangement. So firstly, this tertiary carbocation will take place, and then rearrangement. After rearrangement, we will get a carbocation that is next to the oxygen, and this carbocation is further stable than tertiary carbocation because of the presence of the lone pair of oxygen that is attached to the carbon having the positive charge. So this oxygen lone pair, oxygen used its lone pair to stabilize the positive charge on the carbon, and then after proton loss it will leads to the formation of this pinnacle. Then the next sort of reactions alcohol will show is esterification reaction, where we treat with we treat alcohol with acid and it leads to the formation of ester. And for esterification to takes place, catalytic amount of acid is needed so that it will protonate our acid, and then attack of alcohol is more feasible, and to it will shift the equilibrium towards the right. Then the next group that we have to discuss is ethers. So the nomenclature of ether, the common name is written in such a way. Now, what are ethers first of all? So, ethers is oxygen is attached with the alkyl groups on both sides. The alkyl groups can be same or can be different. The common name we will write in such a way that the two groups that are attached to the oxygen of ether we will write in alphabetical order, and at last we will write the word ether. For example, in this case, we have two ethyl groups that is attached to the oxygen. So, this is diethyl ether. Similarly, in this case, we have this dirt butyl group and we have a phenyl group that is attached with the oxygen. So, this we will call it as dirt butyl phenyl ether. Then, instead of oxygen, if we have sulfur, then we will use the word sulfide here. So, this is diethyl sulfide and this is dirt butyl phenyl sulfide. For writing the IUPAC name of ethers, we will use alkoxyalkanes or alkoxyalkenes and alkoxyarenes based on the substituent that is attached to the oxygen. For example, in the alphabetical order, we have to write the name. So, for example, here we have a methoxy group that is attached to with the 5 carbon chain. So, the substituent that is having the lower number of carbon atoms, we will take it as substituent, and then we will decide the longest carbon chain based on the substituent. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 2 methoxy pentane. Similarly, here we have a carbon chain of 2 carbon atoms and a aryl ring that is having more number of carbon atoms. So this is taking, we will consider it as substituent. So this is 1 ethoxy 4 methyl benzene. So this is how we will write the IUPAC name of ethers. Then the method of formation of or method of synthesis of ethers is Williamson ether synthesis. So in this method, your alkoxide ion attack at the less hindered primary alkyl halide or tosylate or any leaving group in a SN2 fashion. So this is an example of SN2 reaction. So how this reaction will takes place? Here is one of the example that is given, that this 3,3 dimethyl 2 pentanol on reacting with NaH. So this NaH is a base. It will abstract the proton from the hydroxyl group, and it leads to the formation of this alkoxide ion first. Then it attacks in the SN2 fashion at the methyl iodide and leads to the formation of this 2-methoxy 3,3 dimethyl pentane, or this ether. Then if we have aryl, in place of alcohols, if we have phenols, and we know that phenols are more acidic than aliphatic alcohols because the negative charge of the phenols after the deprotonation is stabilized by conjugation. So that is why they are more acidic than the aliphatic alcohols. And in this case, sodium hydroxide is enough basic to deprotonate that phenol. So sodium hydroxide will abstract the proton, and it leads to the formation of this ion, and then SN2 attack gives you this 1 nitro 2 propoxy benzene. So this is the method, we will call it as Williamson ether synthesis, where we treat our alcohol with a base and then attack at some alkyl iodide or alkyl halide source to form the ethers by SN2 attack. Then the second method that we can use to for the preparation of ethers is alkoxymercuration demercuration. Like oxymercuration demercuration leads to the formation of alcohols. In this case, instead of mercuric acetate, we will use third butanol in the like rather than some hydrogen source. So in this case, firstly that mercurium ion will form as a form in the case of oxymercuration demercuration. Then that third butanol will attack at that mercurium ion, and it will open up. So it will form this O third butyl group, and here mercuric acetate, or this OCF3 group, and then reduction will gives you this ether. So this reaction we will call it as alkoxymercuration demercuration, that we will use for the preparation of ethers. Then the alcohols, for the protection of alcohols, we will use many groups. For example, tert butyl ethyl group, tert butyl ether, we can prepare to protect the hydroxyl group of the alcohol. In that case, dilute acids, and for the deprotection of this tert butyl ether group, we will use dilute acid. Then the other protecting group that we can use for the protection of alcohols is silyl ether group, that is mostly used in the synthesis also. For example, if we have this tert butyl dimethyl silyl chloride, so if we have a silicon that is attached with 2 methyl and 1 tert butyl group and chloride, so this TBDPS we will call it as. So this we will use for the protection of alcohols. Similarly, triethyl silyl chloride. Then try isopropyl silyl chloride. So isopropyl is this group. So if we have three isopropyl group that is attached with silicon, then this is the tri isopropyl silyl chloride. And this, if we have two phenyl rings and one tert butyl group that is attached with silyl or a silicon, then we will call it as tert butyl diphenyl silyl chloride. So these are some silyl ether groups that we will use for the protection of alcohols. Then what are the type of reactions ethers will undergo? So the diethyl ether react with some acid source, for example, concentrated hydrobromic acid, to form bromoethane. Now how this reaction will takes place? Firstly, oxygen will abstract the proton, and it will form this oxonium ion or oxonium salt first, and then this bromide ion will attack at the carbon that is attached with this oxonium or oxygen having the positive charge, and it leads to the formation of your alcohol as well as the alkyl bromide or alkyl halide. And further, this alcohol also we can convert to alkyl bromide by, in the presence of acid, it will get protonated and then bromide will attack at the uh, carbon having this leaving group attached to it, and it leads to the formation of your alkyl bromide. So 2 moles of alkyl bromide we will get from 1 mole of ether. Then the next group that we discussed is epoxides. So what are epoxides? Epoxides are 3-membered cyclic ethers, and we will call it as oxyranes also. And epoxides made from mostly from alkenes. So the synthesis, we have a cyclohexene and we are treating it with MCPPA, metachloroperbenzoic acid, and it leads to the formation of your epoxy cyclohexene. Now, how this reaction will takes place? Whenever you have a per acid and you are treating it with alkene, so oxygen will be transferred from this per acid to the alkene. So this side chain I'm represented as R. So what will happen? Alkene will attack at the oxygen, then it will attack back. Oxygen will attack at the alkene carbon, and then it take this proton and through this intramolecular, it will form this epoxide. So through this concerted mechanism, this epoxidation will takes place using MCPBA or any per acid or compound that can epoxide like do oxidation. So this is the concerted mechanism that is shown here, and in this case, because the oxygen is transferred from the same phase, so the stereochemistry of your alkene is maintained in the product as well. So you will get your epoxide with the same stereochemistry as of that alkene that you are started with. Then the other method that we can use for the preparation of epoxides is by treating your halohydrin with a base. So this is your halohydrin, and when how we will form this? If we have an alkene and we are treating it with chlorine in the presence of water or bromine in the presence of water, then it leads to the formation of first chloronium ion, and then water will open up then rather than the chloride ion that is leaving in the process. So this leads to the formation of your chlorohydrin. Then if we are treating it with base, so base will abstract the proton and it will form this alkoxide ion that will attack at the from the back side, and it leads to the formation of your epoxide. This trans attack is feasible for the formation of epoxide. Then one particular method that we will use for getting the asymmetric epoxide is your Sharpless asymmetric epoxidation, where where your allylic alcohol was treated with, if we have a molecule that contains allylic alkene as well as your like isolated alkene, then allylic uh, alkene will participate in this epoxidation rather than the isolated alkenes. So in this case, we are treating it with a per acid, a titanium isopropoxide source, and your diethyl tartarate, that is plus or minus, that will decide the stereochemistry of the epoxide, whether it will form from the above phase or from the below phase. So this is the example of that. Then, what type of reactions epoxides can show? So, epoxides opening can takes place in acid as well as in the basic medium. In the presence of acid, so your oxygen will coordinate with the positive charge of oxygen will abstract the positive proton from the acidic medium, and then it leads to the formation of the more stable carbocation where water is attacking at the because this oxygen carbon bond get weakened by the getting the positive charge on the oxygen. So then water will attack at the more substituted side and leads to the formation of your diol. In this case it is symmetrical epoxide, so we will get same diol whether the attack is taking place at any of the carbons. But if it is an unsymmetrical this epoxide, then attack of nucleophile will takes place at the more substituted site. For example, in this case, if here in this case we have one methyl, and in other side we have two methyls. So in this case, when after the protonation will takes place, then water will attack at the more substituted site because carbocation was stable at that position, and it leads to the formation of your 1,2 diols. Then, in the presence of or base catalyzed ring opening reaction, how it is takes place? In this case, your nucleophile will attack at the less substituted site. In the presence of acid, your carbon oxygen bond will weaken up, leading to the formation of a more stable carbocation. But here, your carbocation will not generate, so the nucleophile will prefer to attack in the SN2 fashion at the less hindered site or less hindered carbon atom. So this methoxide will attack at the less hindered carbon, and it open up the epoxide, leading to the formation of this alkoxide ions first, and then it will abstract the proton and forms 1,2 diol in such a way that the nucleophile is attached to the less substituted carbon. So alkoxide ion attacks at the less substituted carbon in the presence of base, and it will attack at the more substituted carbon, or nucleophile will attack at the more substituted carbon in the presence of acid. Then what are the other nucleophiles that we can use for the attack at the this or for opening of epoxide is your Grignard reagent and your organolithium reagents. So this Grignard is like if we are comparing organolithium compounds in this Grignard reagent, so this organolithium reagents are more selective for than your Grignard reagents, and it will attack at the less hindered epoxide carbon atom. So if you have this methyl oxirane and we are treating it with cyclohexyl lithium species, then this will attack at the less substituted carbon of the epoxide, and it will open up, leading to the formation of your alcohol. Similarly, Grignard can also do the same thing. It will attack at the less hindered site and open up the epoxide and forms your alcohol. Then polyethers can also be formed by opening of epoxide. So if we have a methoxide ion that is attacked at the epoxide at the less hindered carbon, and it will form this alkoxide ion first. And if we have more equivalents of the epoxide in the system, then it will form this polymer and this polyether compound. So if this epoxides can do acid catalyzed ring opening, base catalyzed ring opening. It can also um, that epoxides can be opened up by using Grignard as well as your this organolithium reagents, and it can also participate in the formation of some polyether compounds by treating your one epoxide opening product with more of the epoxides. Then the next part that we have to discuss is aromaticity. So if we have a alkene and we are treating it with bromine, we already see that it will gives us an addition product, correct? But if we are treating benzene with the same bromine in the presence of some iron catalyst, first of all, it will not show addition product. We will not get this addition product, but instead of that, we will get a substituted product in the presence of some iron catalyst or metal catalyst. Now, this behavior of the benzene double bonds is different, makes it different from the alkene double bond. Now, what makes this benzene this special? To understand that, let us discuss about the other rings that contain such kind of double bonds, whether they will undergo the same kind of reaction as isolated alkenes, or it will show the reaction same as that of the benzene. So, if we take the example of the cyclooctatetraene, this cyclooctatetraene has a tub like shape where your all the four double bonds are not conjugated because they are not in the same plate. For conjugation to happen or to take place, planarity is one of the condition that should be there. But this cyclooctatetraene having all the four double bonds in the different plane, or in the, like, this double bond and this double bond is in different planes, so the conjugation is not takes place. So, and this cyclooctatetraene can undergo addition reaction with the bromine or can undergo hydrogenation, but benzene will not do. What is hydrogenation reaction? We already discussed that alkene on treatment with hydrogen in presence of some metal catalyst, it leads to the formation of alkenes. So we have a double bond that we are reducing using hydrogen gas and a metal catalyst to form the saturated alkenes. And this process is exothermic because we are getting a thermodynamically more stable product than our alkenes. So in this, like, if we want to discuss or if we want to compare the heat of hydrogenation for cyclooctene and cyclooctatetraene, so what we observed that the heat of hydrogenation or the energy released on hydrogenation from cyclooctene is 96 kilojoule per mole. But when cyclooctatetraene we are hydrogenating, so in this case, four hydrogens will be used up, and it leads to the it gives 410 kilojoule per mole energy, and this is four times that of the cyclooctane. But if we have cyclohexene, in that case 120 kilojoule per mole energy is released, but benzene releases only 208 kilojoule per mole energy. It should be 360 kilojoule per mole if all the three hydrogens are getting hydrogenated, but it leads to the but in this case the energy released is less. That means benzene is stable then the cyclooctatetraene that is releasing that for converting the cyclooctatetraene to the cyclooctane, we are getting we need four times energy, or it releases four times energy than that of the cyclooctane, but in this case the energy releases is less. That means benzene is stable. Why the stability is arises? This is because of aromaticity. So how we will decide or how we will come to know about that? By varying the number of electrons. In the case of cyclooctatetraene, if we are treating it with some acid source and it leads to the formation of a dication, so this dication is planar, but your cyclooctatetraene is not planar. And if we will treat it with alkali metals, then it will form dianion, that is having 10 electrons. Here it is having 6 electrons, and the dianion of cyclooctatetraene has 10 electrons, that is also planar. So this implies that for any molecule that is having 4 or 8 pi electrons in both 6 or 8 membered ring, it will adopt a non planar structure. But if your 6 or 8 membered ring has 6 or 10 pi electrons, then it will adopt a planar structure. So the planar structure that is cyclic and having 6 pi or 10 pi electrons, because of this planarity, they are getting stabilized. So this we will call it as aromaticity. Now in case of benzene, we will discuss or we will understand it using molecular orbital diagram. So this molecular orbital, the lowest energy molecular orbital that exists in the case of benzene, has in plane or all the orbitals combining in phase to get this psi 1, that is the lowest energy molecular orbital. Then if we have one node, in that case two arrangement is possible, whether the nodal plane was passing through a atom or through a bond, then we will get these two uh, like this two molecular orbitals that is having the same energy, and we will call it as psi2, that is having one node. Then if we have two nodes, then also two molecular orbitals are possible having same energy, we will call it as psi3. And psi4 is your molecular orbital, that is in all in which, in that case, your all molecular orbitals are overlapping out of phase, so it has four nodes, sorry, three nodes. So here we have three nodes. So psi1 has no nodes, psi2 has one nodal plane that can pass through atoms or bonds, psi3 has two nodal planes, and psi4 has three nodal planes. So this is the molecular orbital of your benzene looks like. Then for drawing the molecular orbitals of other um, rings or other cyclic hydrocarbons, what we can do, that we can draw a circle and we will make a shape of the, like if it is a six membered ring, we will draw a hexagon. If it is a five membered ring, we will draw a pentagon. For a cyclobutane, we will draw a square. And for cyclooctane, oh sorry, cyclooctane, we will draw a octagon. And we have to draw all the shapes in such a way that your apex point is at one of the point is at the lowest of the circle, and then we will draw the molecular orbitals based on that. Now from these diagram, one thing we have to make, some points we have to make clear, that the energy level of the molecular orbitals of the planar cyclic arrangements of the identical atoms only. In all these cases, we have carbon atoms where n is your 6, 5, 4, 8, etc. And in all these cases, only one molecular orbital is possible, where your all the orbitals will overlap in one phase. So that's why only one apex point is there that is having the lowest energy, or one molecular orbital is there that is having the lowest energy. Then based on the nodal planes, we will get more molecular orbitals that are degenerate. So because there is only one single molecular orbital lower in energy than all other, that is combining in phase. Then other, if there is an even number of carbon atoms, for example in the case of 6 or 4, then we have molecular or pair of degenerate molecular orbital highest higher in energy or highest in energy. And if we have like if we have number of carbon atoms odd, in that case we will get highest energy orbital, that is, sorry, in the case of even um, number of carbon atoms, we will get a orbital that is of highest energy, that is single only. And in the case of odd one, we will get a pair of molecular orbitals that is higher in energy. Then how we will fill these molecular orbitals based on the electrons. So the two in the case of benzene, we have six electrons, six pi electrons. So the lowest energy molecular orbital we have to fill first. So two electrons will go in the psi1, and then in the degenerate orbitals we will fill electrons firstly single single, and then we will pair up. So this benzene has a closed shell structure, that is making it stable. But in the case of cyclooctatetraene, we have 8 electrons. So firstly, psi1 contains 2 electrons, psi2 will contain 4 electrons, and then according to Hund's rule, we will fill the electrons firstly single electrons at the degenerate orbitals. So in this case, we will get 2 electrons in the psi3, and it does not have this closed shell configuration. So closed shell means that all the this molecular orbitals are fully filled. So that's why this cyclooctatetraene wants to lose 2 electrons, or it wants to gain 2 electrons to get the stability. That's why its anion and its cation both are planar, but cyclooctatetraene does not is not planar. So the Huckel rule says that if you have a planar, fully conjugated, and monocyclic system with 4n plus 2 pi electrons, we will call it as aromatic, and these are very much stable species. And if we have a planar, fully conjugated, and monocyclic system that has 4n pi electrons, then we will call it as anti-aromatic. And if one of the condition is not followed, that if it is the molecule is not planar or it is not fully conjugated, then we will call it as non-aromatic. So these are the some of the example. First is your this cis 10 annuline, where you have 4n plus 2 pi electrons. This is planar, conjugated.
Non-aromatic, can you repeat once again?
Sorry.
Non-aromatic, can you repeat once again?
Okay. If any of the condition, like Huckel rule says you that your molecule should be planar, conjugated, and monocyclic, then we will check the number of electrons. Whether if it is 4n plus 2, we will call it as aromatic. If it is 4n, we will call it as anti-aromatic. But if your molecule is not planar, or it is not conjugated, or it is monocyclic, like it is like whether it is not planar or it is not conjugated. If these two conditions are not followed, we will call it as non-aromatic. For example, we have this cyclopentene or cyclopentadiene. In this case, this one of the atom is your sp3 hybridized. That means this molecule is not planar. So we will call it as directly non-aromatic. Got it?
Okay, madam.
Yeah. Similarly, your 18 annuline is aromatic, but your 20 annuline, that is having 4n electrons, is not aromatic or anti-aromatic. This anti-aromatic plus non-aromatic will be considered in the case of not aromatic. So three terms we have. One is aromatic, then anti-aromatic, and non-aromatic. And combining anti-aromatic and non-aromatic, we will call them as not aromatic. And in the case of monocyclic system, it is clear that if we have a 4n plus 2 pi electrons or a 4n pi electrons, we will consider them as aromatic and anti-aromatic respectively. But in the case of bicyclic system, if we will consider the peripheral aromaticity, then they are also considered as aromatic compounds, but their properties is still different from the aromatic compounds. For example, naphthalene has 10 pi electrons if we are considering only the peripheral electrons, but it can undergo this reduction to form the tetraline. But if because we are considering it as two benzene rings, so one of the benzene ring that is not participate in conjugation, so one benzene ring will remain intact and the other benzene ring uh, can be reduced. But if we are considering it as two benzene rings, so the benzene ring will not get reduced so easily. Okay, that's why the naphthalene shows different behavior from benzene as well. And if we substitute this methylene, this double bond with the methylene bridge, then it got planarity, and in this case this 10 annuline becomes aromatic, fully aromatic. The other example is your cyclopentadiene. This is non-aromatic, but if we are treating it with base, it leads to the formation of this cyclopentadienyl anion. That is having fully closed shell, so we will call it as aromatic. Similarly, some heteroatomic rings that contains or cyclic rings that contain heteroatom are also aromatic. For example, this pyrrole or this pyridine, where you have planar, conjugated, monocyclic system and having 6 pi electrons. Now, in the case of pyridine, your nitrogen lone pair was not participating in conjugation, so this can act as base. But in the case of pyrrole, your nitrogen lone pairs are participate in conjugation, making it aromatic. So that's why the nitrogen pyrrole is less basic. Clear? Now let us discuss about questions. I will give you time, think about it, and then answer. Okay, the first question is, what is the major product of the following reaction? You have a alcohol, you are treating it with bromophosphine, and then in the presence of base, and then sodium ethoxide. So what it will form? Phosphorus is oxophilic. Oxygen phosphorus bond is very strong. So what will happen in the first case?
Ma'am, phosphorus donates the electrons towards, sorry, ma'am, oxygen donates electrons towards the phosphorus.
Phosphorus. Correct. So oxygen will attack at the phosphorus. So it will form O, P, Br2, H positive. Okay, and one of the bromine will leave. Then, or we can show that this H positive will go after deprotonation. So this will form first. Then Br negative will attack from the backside, and it leads to the formation of this oxygen phosphorus compound that is stable. So in the first case, we will got this compound. Then in the second case, sodium ethoxide, what it will do? Sodium ethoxide is a base. So what base? What it will do?
Elimination.
Elimination. So elimination can take place from either sides. And it leads to the formation of two alkenes. One is this one, and one is this one. Which one is more stable?
More substitute.
More substituted. So this is your major product, and this is your minor product. In questions, we have asked about the major product that is formed. So the correct answer is option first. Clear? Any doubt? Okay, let's move on to the next one.
No, madam.
Which of the following molecules is not aromatic? Let us discuss about each of the examples. In the first case, is this planar?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it is planar. It is conjugated, monocyclic as well. And how many electrons it has?
6 pi electrons.
6 pi electrons. So 6 pi electrons means it has 4n plus 2 pi electrons. So this is
Aromatic, ma'am.
aromatic. Then in the second case, we have this is planar or not?
Yes,
Planar.
yes, ma'am.
It is conjugated. Electrons,
Only 4 pi
4
electrons,
pi
ma'am.
electrons. So this is anti-aromatic.
Aromatic.
Then next one, this is planar, this is conjugated. Electrons, how many electrons are there?
8.
No, but only 6 electrons will be included in conjugation. Oxygen, one lone pair, it can donate to other like
Okay, ma'am.
electrophiles. Okay, so 6 pi
Yes,
electrons
ma'am.
will be considered. So this is also aromatic. And in the last one, in the case of pyrrole, this is also 6 pi electrons are there. It is planar, it is conjugated. So this is also aromatic. So which one is not aromatic? Option 2. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then the next is the product of the following reaction sequence is, you are treating your alcohol with tosyl chloride in the presence of pyridine, and then in the second step you are treating it with sodium azide. So what product you will get? First, what it will do?
Tosyl fluoride is a bulky group. The option 2 and 3,
Option 2
two
and 3.
products, two products possible.
Okay. Others?
Ma'am, first oxygen donates electrons towards that sulfur in the tosyl chloride, ma'am.
Silicon.
And then in the final step, we can have addition of that Cl minus, removed Cl minus. It attacks into that carbon by SN2 mechanism.
Okay, okay. Correct. So first, pyridine will take the proton and then it will form this OTS. Correct? Because oxygen is attacking at the tosyl chloride and chloride will leave. So this will form first. Then your sodium azide will attack in SN2 fashion. So it will attack from the back side and this tosyl group will leave. So we will get this azide and your proton is above. So only this product is possible. This is the case. This is the third one. So the correct answer is option third. Sorry, D option 3 only. How you will get second option?
I think the both upward and downward attack is possible. That's why I guess the option
Okay,
2
okay.
and
No,
3.
no, no. Like when you have,
SN2 only one
yeah,
side. Okay.
SN2 only possible. So that carbocation is not generated in this case. So in that case, like both side attack is possible. But this is a SN2 type reaction, so only one product is possible. Okay. Any doubt? Your voice is not clear. Sorry. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The product of the following reaction is, you have an alkyne. First, you are doing hydroboration oxidation and then further oxidation with potassium dichromate. So, what will be the product? Let's go step by step. What is the product of first step? Where hydrogen will go? Is this correct? Hydroboration is taking place. Hydrogen and boron will add at the same plane or same phase of the triple bond, and your boron is attached to the carbon that is less substituted, and hydrogen will attached to the carbon that is more substituted. Anti-Markovnikov addition. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then after oxidation in the second step, you will get a enol. Enol. Then this enol, it will tautomerize to ketaldehyde. So you will get this aldehyde. Then in the presence of potassium dichromate, aldehyde will get oxidized to acid. So you will get this product. Which one is this product? So ketone we will not get, aldehyde we will not get. We will get acid, that is in third or fourth case, but the number of carbons here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In this second case we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons. In this case we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons. So the correct option is option third. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then the next one, the major product of the following reaction is R. First step, you are treating your compound with sodium ethoxide. What it will do?
Elimination.
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 Yeah. So anti-elimination is possible. In this case, hydrogen and bromine are anti to each other. So we will get a more substituted alkene in the first case. So your sodium ethoxide will attack the proton. It leads to the formation of a more substituted alkene in the first case. Then second step, bromine water. What you will get?
Addition of bromine in the double bonds, ma'am.
On both side bromine. In the presence of water, this reaction we are doing. So it leads to the formation of halohydrin. Remember?
Halohydrin formation.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
halohydrin will form. So
OH and B are trans to each other.
yeah. So bromine water, it leads to the formation of two products. That if bromonium ion will form in above phase, or it can form from below phase. Sorry. Both are equally feasible. Then water will attack and it will form so we will get these two products. Then in the third step, we are treating it with NaOH. So it will form two products here, two epoxides based on, we will get this one plus we will get this one. So the correct option is option first and second. So option C is correct. Clear? Any doubt?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. Which of the following molecules are anti-aromatic? First one, how many electrons are there?
6, ma'am. 6
6
pi
pi
electron.
electrons. So this is aromatic. Second case,
6, ma'am.
6 pi. So this is also aromatic. Next,
4, ma'am.
Only 4 electrons,
4 pi electrons. So this is anti-aromatic.
anti-aromatic.
Last one,
6 pi electrons.
6 pi electrons. Nitrogen lone pairs are not included. So
It
this
is also aromatic.
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 Yeah, correct. So the correct option is option third.
Alright.
Next is which one of the following compound is obtained by oxidation of tertiary alcohol by Jones reagent? Your Jones reagent,
It will not give.
Oh,
yeah, it
Not
will not
oxidate,
oxidize
ma'am.
tertiary alcohol. It will
They
oxidize
do not
primary alcohol to
All acid, ma'am, directly.
acid and secondary alcohol to
Ketone, ma'am.
ketone.
secondary ketone.
Correct. so they do not oxidize.
Tertiary to not happen.
Okay. Then which of the following will give you the desired product? Let us write the product for every like every sequence. In the first case, what will be the product for the PBr3 and pyridine condition? So firstly, it will form OPBr2. Then your bromine or bromide will attack from the backside, and then it will form this this compound first. Then when your thiocyanate will attack, then it will attack from the backside, SN2 attack, and it leads to the formation of this trans thiocyanate product. This is also SN2, this is also SN2. So two times, that means inversion will take place. In the second case, SOCl2, what it will do with when it react with alcohol? You will get your chloro compound. That is also with, so in this case
Chloro.
also this oxygen will attack at the sulfur first, Cl negative will leave, and then Cl will attack from the opposite phase, so it will form this first, and then your sodium thiocyanate will attack from the, sorry,
Student Tyson.
it will also attack from the backside, and you will guess this trans product. Then in the case of tosyl chloride, when alcohol will attack with the tosyl chloride or mesyl chloride, in this case we will get tosyl and mesyl in the trans first, and then when sodium thiocyanate will attack, then we will get our cis product rather than trans by the backside attack. Okay, in the first two cases, two time, like in first condition only two times attack is taking place, so we will get cis product first, and then after the attack of sodium thiocyanate we will get a trans product. But in the second and third, sorry, in the third and fourth case, we will get trans product first, and then after SN2 attack by the sodium thiocyanate we will get this cis product. So the correct product we will get in the case of third and fourth, so the correct option in this case is C and D. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next is select the appropriate reagent to achieve this transformation. You have an epoxide and you want to open the epoxide, in which case you will get the attack of the this methoxy will attach to the less substituted site in the acidic medium or in the basic medium.
Acidic medium level.
Second, correct. In the acidic medium, carbocation will generate, okay, or the delta positive will come in the epoxide. So the methanol will attack at the more substituted site. But in the basic condition, the nucleophile will attack at the less substituted position. So it will form this product. So I will write. So your sodium methoxide will attack from the backside at the less substituted carbon. So then it will form this product. Then rank the following in increasing order of acidity. Sorry, decreasing order of acidity. From most acidic to the least acidic. Which one is most acidic?
SO3H, sulfonic acid.
Sulfonic.
Sulfuric
Sulfonic acid is the most
Sulfonic acid.
acidic because after the deprotonation, your whatever the structure we are getting, it is resonance stabilized, and the resonating structures are equally equal, are of equal energy. Okay, So your C is most acidic. Then among thiol and your phenol, which one is more acidic?
Phenol.
Phenol or thiophenol? Sulfur having the bigger size, so it can stabilize the negative charge better than oxygen.
Phenol.
So thiols are more acidic than the
Thiol.
phenols. And in the last case, you have an electron withdrawing group that is stabilizing the negative charge on the sulfur, so it is more acidic. So we have C, then D, then B, and then A. C option. Clear? Any doubt?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. Then, in the following molecule, it is aromatic or anti-aromatic. How many electrons?
6 pi electron.
Correct, 6 pi electrons. So,
Aromatic.
aromatic. Planar conjugated 6 pi electrons, so it is aromatic. Then, next one, this one,
4 pi electrons.
4 or 6 sulfur lone pair can participate in conjugation.
6
Correct?
It is also
6 pi
aromatic.
electron.
6 pi electrons.
6 pi electron.
Yeah, yeah.
It is also aromatic.
Okay. So, this is also aromatic. This one, is it aromatic or aromatic or anti-aromatic?
It is
Anti-aromatic.
non-aromatic.
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 This is not planar. So this is
Aromatic.
non-aromatic. Then next is can you write your doubt? Your voice is not clear to me. Okay, so in this question, what is the major product of the following reaction? First of all, alcohol will react with PBr3. It will form. So first it will form OPBr2. Then that Br negative will attack from the backside. So it will form this. Then your thiol will attack from the backside. Again SN2 will takes place. So it will form this. Clear? Similar question we already discussed. So the correct option is option 3. Any doubt?
No, madam.
Okay. Now, tell me which of the option is correct.
First option.
First option,
Yes, ma'am.
others.
First or second letter.
How first? Missile will form in the first
Yes,
step.
ma'am. Yes, the second option. Sorry, ma'am.
So azide will attack from the back side. That means below. So the correct option is option second. Okay. Then what is the major product of this reaction? You have an epoxide and in the presence of acid and methanol, we are opening it. In the presence of acid, your nucleophile will attack at the more substituted or less substituted.
Let's substitute, ma'am.
No, in the presence of acid, some acid electrophilic character
Take it from less substitute.
it will attack at the more substituted
Yes.
because the carbocation generated at the more substituted carbon is stable. So your methanol will attack at the more substituted carbon, leading to the opening of the epoxide. So you will get
Second is correct answer, madam.
OCH3 and your methyl is above. So the correct option is option. Which option? Third option.
I think third option.
Yeah. Whenever acidic condition is there, so carbocationic character generates in the epoxide, so the nucleophile will attack at the more substituted carbon. And whenever basic condition was there, then your nucleophile will attack at the less substituted carbon. Clear?
Okay.
Yeah. Then, in the presence of concentrated sulfuric acid, we are treating this alcohol. So, major product you have to tell me. So, firstly, protonation will take place. Then, after elimination, you will get a carbocation. So, you will get this carbocation. So, if elimination takes place
I
at this
think
stage,
so. Oh,
so we will get
alkanes. Measure is it is a measure.
sorry, or this one. But because this is secondary carbocation, so rearrangement chances are also
Sure.
there. Okay.
Second one.
So after 1-2 migration hydride shift, it will form a tertiary carbocation. Correct?
Actually, carbocation. Okay.
Then it can undergo elimination. So it can form this alkene, or it can form a more substituted alkene, this one. So which one is major among all these four categories?
Most substituted alkane is a major.
Yeah, so option A is correct first. Clear? Whenever you have alcohol and there is a hydride shift or rearrangement can takes place, so whatever the more stable alkene you will get after rearrangement, that is the major product. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then in the last question they are asking that is it a carbocation intermediate?
Yes, ma'am. Intermediate was there.
Correct. So carbocation intermediate will generate in even mechanism. Elimination is even. So this is unimolecular. In that case, concerted stereochemistry is not possible. Anti-periplanar and biomolecular. This is not correct. So the correct option is option first and second. So in even elimination, we have unimolecular rate law. It will follow and it will undergo, or the reaction will proceed through carbocation intermediate. Then, in this case, what will happen for? First, your ether abstract the proton.
So first,
So it will form this
first
proton.
is the correct answer.
Sorry, which option?
First is correct. Madam.
First option. No, first option is not correct.
Option 3, ma'am.
B, correct. Option B is correct. Now this, it will, if this leaving group will leave, so it leads to the formation of a tertiary carbocation and your alcohol. Correct? This tertiary carbocation is stable. So then ion negative will attack and it leads to the formation of this compound. So the correct option is this fourth option.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then in this reaction, carbocation intermediate is forming. Correct? Is this concerted mechanism? Concerted? No. Anti-periplanar arrangement? No. Carbocation rearrangement is taking place? No. So the correct option is only first. Clear? Next is when S2-butanol is treated with pyridine, the product generates.
I can't hear.
Everyone, please mute yourself. While answering only, you can answer, unmute. Okay, so you have S2-butanol and we are treating it with tosyl chloride. So which product you will get? Now S-butanol, if we want to draw, so this is your S-butanol. This one. So now tell me, if we are treating it with tosyl chloride in the presence of pyridine, what it will form? We will get this OTS. Any other possibility is there in this condition? No, right? Only one product we will get. So, is this a achiral compound? We have a chiral center. So, this is not achiral. So, this is incorrect. As there is no previously generated stereo center in the molecule, so diastereomer is not possible. Racemic mixture we will not get. We will get a single enantiomer, this one. So, we will get a single enantiomer in this case as the product by the attack of alcohol on the tosyl chloride, and the chloride will leave. Then, last question, which of the following is the strongest acid? If we have a amine, then the nitrogen lone pair it can donate. So it will rather act as a base than acid. Then alcohol and thiol both can act as acid, but if we are comparing O negative with S negative, then S negative can stabilize, or sulfur can stabilize the negative charge better than oxygen. So sulfur is better acid than alcohol. Then ethers and this alkyl chloride, they are not that much acidic. So the most acidic or the strongest acid in the following example is your thiol. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. You can leave now.
Thank you, madam.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I have only one small doubt, ma'am.
Okay.
So, in that I have studied the voice transcription notes and all, ma'am. That shared one. So, in that I have seen in one case that PBR3, right, now, ma'am?
Okay.
In that case, initially we are doing that oxygen gets donated to, sorry, lone pair of all electrons donated towards the phosphorus,
Okay.
and finally in the final step, Br is attacking by SN1 mechanism. Am I right, ma'am?
SN1, no, it will attack through SN2.
Okay, ma'am. This is it because when I have studied, I have seen that it will go by SN1 likewise. Maybe I'm not sure. That's why I just clarified, ma'am. SN2 mechanism.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Now I got it, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.